The Soviet Union. For over 70 years, it's been a mystery to the West. Its borders sealed, a society hidden behind a totalitarian regime. Recently and rapidly, the concept of glasnost, or openness, has made it possible for us to see with our own eyes the Soviet Union as it is today. The initial purpose of my recent fact-finding trip to the Soviet Union was to review Soviet urological technology for possible licensing. After seeing the dramatic changes taking place there, I quietly added two additional objectives: determining the market potential for sale of our products in the Soviet Union and investigating the wisdom of investing in a manufacturing operation. "70 years of Soviet mismanagement and ideological, political, and economic falsehoods have wrecked the Soviet economy. During this trip, I saw evidence that although the Soviet economy is sick, the patient is not dying. For example, the country is deeply in debt, but the medical and healthcare aspects of the economy are receiving major infusions of funds as they move from a centrally planned military economy to a market economy modeled after the West. The changes are so dramatic that companies who have had long dealings with the Soviet Union are having to send their people back. If they haven't been there within the past few months, they must return to reacquaint them with the current situation. As we present this situation analysis, let me first show some practical aspects of life that I encountered in Moscow. This is where the line starts for McDonald's.
The line starts,
and then it
goes this way.
And how long will they wait in line to go to McDonald's?
Around 45 minutes, maybe. Yes, about 30 minutes.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But there's always about 500 people in line, they say. Huh? This is my hotel. It's called the something about the October Revolution. You might be interested in some of the things so far. This is a very mundane manner, but this is the toilet paper. Kind of we'll put a little starch in your behind. It is soft on one side and shiny on the other, so I think they're expecting that people will know how to use it. And this having been a hotel for, and possibly still is, for communist leaders, this invitation says in various languages, but in English, "Dear comrade, if you are expecting guests, please notify the comrade attached to you or the hotel desk in advance so that a pass can be filled out for them in good time." Dr. German Borodulin, a Russian-born urologist with excellent connections in the Soviet Union, although he is an American citizen, served as my consultant and saw that we had access to and invitations from the top urological centers in the Soviet Union. We started at one of the top clinics in Moscow, the Monica Institute, and the trip went up from there. Dr. Margarit Trapezhnikova, chief of urology, showed us their lithostar setup. Her staff demonstrated a sonic system for moving stones down the ureters and relieving renal colic. A negative pressure device for stone pain relief was novel. Their device for addressing prostatitis has shown about 80% success. These are their endoscopic and supplies cabinets. I see you use Storz and Becton Dickinson syringes and so forth. And their cystoscopy suite.
Firma Siemens.
Equipment by Siemens. And the sterilizing cabinet.
System for sterilizing water.
Water sterilization system.
And electrohydraulic
Shocks.
For crash
Ura 2.
We then toured the clinic headed by Dr. Oleg Loran, the urologist general of the Soviet Union. Now, some of these products that you have here,
Please.
are these are made by Argyle,
Argyle, India.
in India. Argyle, India, made in India.
Sherwood.
Sherwood. Now, you used these 10 years ago. You bought these 10 years ago, but you
Yes.
haven't used them.
No,
Why?
no.
Why not? Why?
Why we have not new?
Why haven't you used them?
It is remains.
Okay, you used up everything except these. These are
Yes.
the last ones.
It is the last one. It is a little which we have. We have not a lot of. It is they finished, and till to the end of this year we'll have nothing.
Okay, now this one has got Russian printing on the back of it.
Yes.
Is this a Russian company that's
No,
printing?
it's Argyle also.
It's Argyle also.
It's Argyle also. It is such. Everything is Argyle.
These others are this Angel from
Yes.
Tokyo, and this Norta, the Saratoga Sump Train,
Yes, it's Argyle also. Everything is Argyle.
and all or most of it made in India.
Yes, this is all India.
All India.
Closed urinary drainage section, also from India.
From Argyle.
Yes, and
And this is Norta, made by Beiersdorf in Hamburg.
it is presents,
These are gifts.
it is gifts, it is also Indram Tarotar Catheter, it is also Argyle.
From Argyle. Okay, well, very good. And
But of course, it will be better if we can produce it here in our country. This is, now it will be transurethral resection, and we have here, we have TV, where the students and young doctors, they can see, they can look how it's, the operation is made.
and you do about 200 TURs a year here? We were then introduced to Dr. Nikolai Lopatkin, director of the Institute of Urology in Moscow and president of the Russian Urological Association. I'll discuss his operation more fully later, but the following scenes describe his urological research and development center. Okay, this is the urological laboratory floor, and what else?
That is a special lab for modeling of the urological diseases.
Very good. This is the animal lab.
Yes, animal lab.
And how many of these do they have? Is this the only one, or are there others?
Two.
Two. There was one of two labs. This is an experimental lab, again strictly for animals. What is this device?
Special device to register the peristalsis of ureter after different type of surgery.
Good. This is Statix X-ray equipment. Where is that made? This is East Germany.
The nitrogen.
Yeah. This is Lydia.
That's right.
She is head of this micro-concentration lab, equipment largely from Finland. An overnight train took us to the Ukraine, where we met with Dr. Alexander Vozianov, director of the Kiev Research Institute of Urology and head of medical unification, reporting to the Prime Minister of the Ukraine. Dr. Vozianov demonstrated his staff's stone removal technology by their removing stones from 3 patients in less than 15 minutes, a procedure that normally takes 45 minutes to an hour and a half for one patient. Large amounts of money have been directed away from military to medical and healthcare uses in republics like the Ukraine, which is larger than France. Dr. Vozianov says the market is unlimited there and there is very big potential. He just signed a $300 million deal for computers and CAT scan equipment and meets 3 times a week with foreigners proposing deals, especially with the Japanese. With the change from a command economy to a market economy, has come also a change in prestige among military versus other occupations. Whereas before perestroika, most of the money, brains, and prestige went to military research, now civilian, and especially healthcare and medical positions, are getting the money and the prestige. Although they are not yet comparable to Western institutions, by comparison to other aspects of Soviet society, medical research and healthcare are getting more than their fair share of scarce funds. Nearly everywhere I went, there was evidence of the flow of money to health care in the form of new hospital equipment and building construction. Dr. Nikolai Lopatkin has already started pilot production of Foley catheters to fill the Soviet market. He estimates the Foley catheter market to be 2 to 3 million catheters per year, which may then rise to 15 million catheters per year in urology alone, as they achieve a goal of teaching clinicians to use catheters only once. Dr. Lopatkin has formed a joint venture with the Rubber and Latex Institute in Moscow, which they call Eurotex. This company became a private enterprise in May. They anticipate being able to manufacture 70,000 catheters per year when equipment is installed this fall. Almost 800 people are working in this institute. Dr. Vozianov in the Ukraine has a need, he says, for about 1 million catheters annually, growing to 3 to 5 million catheters annually. He also is investigating catheter manufacture with a Rubber Institute in Kiev. Manufacturing costs for labor and materials in the Soviet Union are extremely low. For example, engineers with 5 years' experience can be hired for about 2,000 rubles per month, or about $900 per year. Hourly employees are paid 600 to 700 rubles per month, or about $275 per year. Not only are direct manufacturing costs low, but other significant commercial expenses such as marketing and distribution might be significantly reduced or eliminated altogether, since the central healthcare ministries would commit to buy if a factory commits to manufacture. In any negotiations with the Soviets, we must be forceful and hard. Russians do not operate from a compromise philosophy. I am telling Dr. Lopatkin that we are very pleased to be here, that we do not brag about our technology, yet we do not fear theirs. Drs. Vozianov, Lopatkin, and others have expressed to me a real desire for a cooperative relationship with BARD and have demonstrated their initiative by moving forward to establish local manufacture. Soviet national healthcare statistics show incidence of urological diseases significantly higher than in the United States. If we reduce their estimates to comparable U.S. ratios based on population, the overall Soviet procedure base is larger than in the U.S. A number of major changes have taken place and are yet to take place, which may make the Soviet Union a profitable place in which to compete. Among the most important changes are 1. The ownership of private property by foreign investors, 2. Repatriation of profits, and 3. The convertibility of the ruble into hard currency. Regarding privatization, the Soviet government, which owns virtually all industry, plans to transfer 2/3 of it into private hands over the next 5 years. This is already underway. The Soviets understand that repatriation of profits is a key requirement of doing business in the Soviet Union. Mechanisms already are or will soon be in place to allow the repatriation of profits. They have even developed a hard currency stock exchange. The ruble is expected to be convertible into hard currency, a major requirement, sometime in 1992. I asked Mr. Sergei Zverev, Assistant to the Deputy Chairman of the Council of Ministers of the Russian Federation, to speak to you directly. The time is yours.
It will be very important that you and your corporation will take part in our transformation process to market economy, and it will be very important that your technology and your experience of health, and if your task is to take part in our market and take part in process of our transformation and our production of your product, I don't know that it may be, you will have, I think you will have a good condition to have good profit in our country, in our Russian Federation, in our republic, and you may remain your profit to United States in hard currency, because now we have stock exchange of hard currency, and we have flow of foreign investment, and you will have possibility to remind your money to our country and to your deal in United States or another country, I don't know. Good pleasure to your efforts in our market, in our country. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. In conclusion, there are many risks in doing business in the Soviet Union. The situation there is changing rapidly, and anyone who has not been in the Soviet Union in the last 60 days or so is likely to have a mistaken idea of the current opportunities there. The Soviets are gathering technologies, skills, and money for healthcare. They already have spirit and desire, and are rapidly developing the infrastructure necessary to fill their market with urologicals and other products. A quick harvest should not be expected. A long-term view should be taken, 15 years or more. It may be necessary to plant the seeds of investment now, however, in order to reap a bountiful harvest in the future.